Have you ever held on to something for so long that it started to hurt? Why do we carry the past like a heavy bag, even when we know it's breaking us inside? And how much peace are we really missing just because we can't let go? Imagine this. You're holding a glass of water. It's not heavy, right? But if you hold it for minutes, hours, or even a whole day, your arm will start to ache and eventually go numb. The weight doesn't change, but your ability to carry it does. This is exactly how emotional burdens work. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, the place where ancient Zen teachings meet modern minds. If you're new here, or if you've been watching and haven't yet joined our community, we really need your help. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. It helps more than you know. Letting go isn't just a concept. It's a quiet revolution inside you. It's not about giving up. It's about giving yourself space to breathe. Most of us are trapped, not by others, but by our own thoughts, expectations, and past. The Zen way doesn't ask you to forget. It teaches you to see things clearly and to release what no longer serves your peace. Buddhism says that attachment is the root of suffering. But why do we still cling? Because the mind thinks clinging keeps us safe. Zen reminds us, true safety comes from stillness, not struggle. In this journey, we will not just talk, we will unlearn. Through Zen stories, Buddhist insights, and simple moments from life, we'll see how letting go isn't the end, it's the beginning of real peace. This is just the start. Stay, observe, and feel how light life becomes when you simply let go. The cup that overflows, why holding on hurts? Sit with me for a while. Breathe slowly. Don't rush. Let the world be what it is. No need to fix anything right now. Let me tell you something simple. When your hands are already full, you can't hold anything new. When your cup is full, you can't pour more tea. This may sound small, but it holds a truth deeper than the ocean. One day, a young man came to Zen Master. His head was full of books, quotes, beliefs, and rules. He had studied many paths, and now he wanted to study Zen. The master welcomed him and invited him to sit. He offered the man some tea. He started pouring into the cup, and the tea rose to the top, but the master didn't stop. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the table. "Stop," the man shouted. "It's full. It can't take more." The master smiled gently and said, "Exactly. You're like this cup, so full of your own thinking that nothing new can enter. First, empty your cup. This is how most people live. Full cups, full minds, full hearts, too full of past wounds, regrets, fears, ideas, and plans. When we try to hold everything, we end up holding nothing properly. And then, we wonder why we feel tired, lost, and overwhelmed. You may think letting go means weakness, but truly, it takes great strength. It takes clarity. Letting go is not giving up. It is making space. Look at your hands right now. Not literally, but emotionally. What are you still holding that hurts you? Maybe it's someone's words from years ago. Maybe it's a failure you keep replaying. Maybe it's guilt, or fear, or even pride. Zen doesn't force you to drop things. It simply makes you aware that you're holding them. The moment you notice you're holding something heavy, that awareness itself is the beginning of release. Ask yourself, why am I still carrying this? Has it made me stronger, or just more tired? Letting go starts there. You see, holding on feels natural because it gives us a sense of control. But Zen reveals a softer truth. Control is often an illusion. Everything is changing all the time. Seasons change, people change, thoughts change. Even your breath is different each time. So why fight the nature of things? Imagine walking through a garden holding a heavy rock. You try to smell the flowers, but your hands are not free. You try to pick up something beautiful, but you can't. The rock doesn't leave room for anything else. You start resenting the rock, but you're the one choosing to carry it. Now imagine you slowly open your hand. You place the rock on the ground. Suddenly, you can move freely. You feel light. That's the power of letting go. You don't need to rush it. Even recognizing what you're carrying is a big step. And sometimes we hold on without even knowing it. Some people carry the pain of their childhood. Others carry the pressure of what they should be by now. Some carry the anger of being misunderstood, and some, the grief of what could have been. All of this becomes weight. In Zen, we learn to see clearly. When you truly see your burden, it becomes easier to put it down. It's like this: if your clothes catch fire, what do? Do you sit and study the color of the flames? Do you write a poem about it? No. You drop everything and stop, drop, roll. You act without delay. Holding on to certain emotions is like wearing burning clothes. But because the fire is quiet, slow, and invisible, we don't notice until it consumes us from the inside. That is why awareness is the first light. When you shine light on the pain you've been clutching, you create the possibility to release it. Sometimes you must also forgive, not for them, but for yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying it was okay. It means saying, I will not suffer for this any longer. Zen teaches us, nothing is permanent, not joy, not sorrow, not even the self you think you are. Everything comes, everything goes. So why grasp so tightly? Picture a bird in the sky. It doesn't clutch the air. It moves with it. The wind becomes its path. This is the way of Zen. Let life flow through you. Not around you, not against you, but through you. Letting go is not just about emotions. It's about ideas too. Fixed opinions. Needing to be right. Wanting to always be in control. All of this hardens the mind. And a hard mind cannot learn. It cannot grow. Like frozen soil, it cannot be planted with wisdom. Softness is not weakness. In fact, water is the softest thing in the world, and yet it wears down rock. Zen favors water over stone. Let go of the idea that you must always be strong, always be right, always be certain. These are burdens too. You're not here to hold the whole world on your shoulders. You are here to experience it with open hands. And sometimes, letting go simply means allowing life to be what it is, without needing to control every piece of it. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice what you're holding. Maybe today, you could put one thing down. Just one. That's enough for now. We will go deeper, together, in the next part of this journey. But for today, remember this. When the cup overflows, it cannot receive. When the hands are full, they cannot be free. Let go and be light again. Bamboo wisdom, flexibility over resistance. Come, sit. Let's be still together. No rush, no noise, no pressure. Just you, me, in this present moment. Let me tell you something that trees taught me. Not just any tree, the bamboo. You see, the bamboo is not the tallest in the forest, nor is it the strongest. A storm will snap the tall oak, and it will uproot the heavy tree. But the bamboo, it bends, it sways, it flows with the wind. And when the storm passes, the bamboo is still standing, still calm, still whole. Now ask yourself, what do you do when life becomes a storm? Do you stand stiff and proud, refusing to move? Or do you allow yourself to bend like bamboo? So many of us think strength means resisting. We think that saying no to pain, to change, to uncertainty makes us powerful. But that's not strength. That's fear dressed up as control. In Zen, we say, softness is true strength. Because what is soft cannot be broken. Water flows, air moves, and bamboo bends, but none of them shatter. The stiff tree breaks. The soft bamboo endures. One of my students once came to me, his eyes filled with anger. Life had not gone his way. He lost his job, his relationship was falling apart, and he kept saying, why is everything happening to me? He stood there, shaking with frustration, trying to hold it all together. I gave him no answer. I only walked to the garden, gently bent a stalk of bamboo, and let it go. It swayed back and forth. Then I said, you see this? It doesn't fight the wind. It lets the wind pass. And still it stands. He didn't understand right away. Most people don't. We are taught to fight everything, to push, to win, to resist. But Zen teaches something else: flow, flexibility, presence. You may think letting go makes you weak. No, it makes you free. Resistance ties you to the pain. Flexibility lets you move through it. When you hold a rope too tightly, your hands start to hurt. But still you cling. Why? Because the mind tells you letting go is defeat. But the truth is, letting go is the first step to peace. There's an old Zen story. A monk was crossing a shallow river. In the middle of the river, he lost balance and fell. He struggled, fought against the current, and almost drowned. Another monk came along, saw him, and calmly said, "Why do you fight the water? Let it carry you." The monk stopped resisting. He floated. He reached the shore. Life is water. It flows always. But when we try to control the current, we suffer. Pain comes not from what happens, but from how much we fight what happens. In your life, you may be holding on to opinions, plans, identities, or relationships. And when they start to change, as all things do, you tighten your grip. You try to force things back to how they were. But understand this, the bamboo never tries to stay still. It accepts movement as part of its being. This acceptance is not laziness. It's wisdom. It knows that what bends does not break. So ask yourself quietly now, what are you resisting? Is it the loss of someone you loved? Is it the change in your career? Is it the silence that followed after someone walked away? Whatever it is, do you see how hard you're clenching? Breathe. The bamboo breathes too. It doesn't fear the wind. It dances with it. To let go is not to abandon. It's to accept that life flows differently than we planned. When we release control, we create space for peace. When we allow movement, we find balance. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't need every answer. You only need to soften. There was once a traveler who went to a Zen Master. He said, "Master, I cannot take this anymore. Everything is falling apart." The Master replied, "Then fall apart. Be like the bamboo. When the wind blows, it does not argue. It listens. When the wind leaves, it stands." The traveler looked confused. So the Master walked to the edge of the garden, where two plants grew side by side, a stiff dry stalk and a green bamboo shoot. When the wind came yesterday, the Master said, "This dry stalk snapped in two. But this bamboo, it bent and is still here. Which do you wish to be?" The traveler closed his eyes. He had no more words, only silence. That's where truth begins, in the space after resistance. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you allowed yourself to bend? Not break, just bend. When was the last time you stopped trying to control everything and instead observed? Letting go does not mean losing. It means being open to something new. When you empty your cup, life fills it with fresh water. But if you keep it full of old tea, you'll never taste anything new. Be like bamboo, rooted yet flexible, soft yet unbreakable. In every season, the bamboo changes. In summer it grows. In winter it rests. But it never complains. It simply lives. Quietly, patiently, strong. Can you live like that? Can you wake up tomorrow and greet the unknown not with fear, but with calm? It won't happen overnight. Zen is not magic. It's practice. But every time you choose softness over stiffness, you are one step closer to inner freedom. And remember, when the storm comes, the bamboo does not prepare. It does not worry. It simply allows. And that, dear one, is true peace. So, when the wind of life blows next time, don't stand hard and proud. Bend. Flow. Let it pass. Then, rise again. Still rooted. Still standing. Still free. Let go. Unlike the bamboo, you will not break. You will grow. The river flows on, detachment and action. Let me tell you something, quietly like the sound of a river flowing through the forest. The river never holds on to anything. It carries the leaves, the stones, even fallen branches, but it doesn't stop for them. It doesn't argue. It doesn't cling. It just flows. Now ask yourself, why do we live like the river? Why do we stop for every hurt word someone said to us? Why do we keep thinking about that mistake from years ago? Why do we hold on to people who have already walked away? You see, the river is wise. It knows everything that enters its path is just passing through. That's how Zen teaches us to live, flowing, moving, alive, but never stuck. In life, most people act like they're standing in the middle of the stream, grabbing at every floating object, memories, regrets, plans, fears. They say, "This is mine," and hold tight. But what happens then? The water rushes around them, and they get tired. They struggle to hold on. They drown in what they refuse to release. Letting go is not weakness. It is movement. It is trusting that the flow knows where it's going. In Zen, we do not try to control the water. We learn how to float. Let me tell you a small Zen story, one that is old and simple. Two monks were walking through the woods. They came to a river. There stood a woman, unable to cross. One monk, without a word, picked her up and carried her across the water. He gently set her down on the other side, and both monks continued walking. Hours passed. Finally, the second monk spoke up. "You shouldn't have touched that woman. We're monks. It is against our vow." The first monk smiled and said, "I left her at the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Do you see? This is how our mind works. Even after the moment is gone, we carry it. We carry the arguments, the judgment, the pain. We replay them like old songs. And we think we're being careful, but we're only being trapped. Real detachment doesn't mean pushing people away or not caring. It means, I'll let the moment come. I'll let the moment go. Just like the river. Many people misunderstand attachment. They think it's cold or heartless. But that's not true. Detachment in Zen is warm, peaceful kind. It says, I will love fully, but I won't grip. I will care deeply, but I won't lose myself. When we attach ourselves too tightly to people, to plans, to outcomes, we suffer when things change. And things always change. That is the nature of life. Buddha taught that everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same. Our faces change. The seasons change. Even our thoughts come and go like clouds. So why try to freeze the river? It's better to sit on the bank, smile, and say, there it goes, and that's okay. Now, listen closely, because this is the core of letting go. When you stop grasping, something beautiful happens. You become light. Your heart opens. Your eyes become calm. You begin to feel joy, not because of what you have, but because of what you no longer carry. This is the joy of emptiness. Not an emptiness of pain, but an emptiness that makes space. Space for peace. Space for newness. Space for now. Think about how much space your mind uses up with old things. Words you wish you never said. People you miss. Things you wanted to happen, but never did. It's like trying to live in a room full of old furniture. You keep bumping into it. There's no space to walk freely. Letting go is like opening the windows, clearing the room, and breathing in fresh air. You don't need to wait for a big reason to let go. Start small. Let go of that one thought that keeps repeating. Let go of needing to reply to every message right away. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. Like the river, take what comes, carry it gently, and release it when it's time. This is the path. This is Zen. Sometimes people ask me, but what if I lose everything if I let go? And I say, you already are. Life is changing every moment. You're not losing by letting go. You're losing by not letting go. You're losing your peace. You're losing your time. You're losing your now. You cannot hold the water in your hands. It will slip through, but you can enjoy the sound of it. You can feel it on your skin. You can watch it pass. This is how we should live. Be present. Be open. Be flowing. Let the past go like the river. Let the pain pass like water over stones. In meditation, we observe the breath. We don't control it. We don't hold it in. We watch it come, and we watch it go. Why? Because the breath teaches us detachment. Inhale. Exhale. That's all. That is life. That is Zen. When you stop resisting the flow, you begin to float. And floating feels like peace. You realize you never had to fight the current. You just had to trust it. That's the power of letting go in action. Not an idea in your mind, but a way of living. Let go of yesterday. Let go of who you were. Let go of what could have been. Today is fresh. Today is light. Today is flowing. Walk like the monk who left the woman at the river. Let the moment pass. Smile and move forward, because the river flows on, and so must you. Silent mind, free heart, letting go of thought clutter. Sit down gently, my friend. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you hear it? No, not the sounds outside, not the birds, not the wind, not even the breath passing through your nose. I ask, can you hear your mind? The mind speaks even when the mouth is silent. Thoughts come like clouds, fast, slow, soft, stormy. One moment you're remembering something from years ago, and the next you're worrying about something that hasn't even happened. Like a monkey, it jumps from branch to branch, never staying still. That, in Zen, is called the monkey mind. Now, listen carefully. This monkey mind is not your enemy, but it does need your attention, not to feed it, but to calm it. You see, letting go isn't only about people or things or painful memories. It's also about the thousands of thoughts that come and go uninvited. You may not realize it, but you're carrying a heavy weight every day, not on your back, but inside your head. Imagine waking up, and before even brushing your teeth, you're already thinking, did I reply to that message? Why did she say that to me yesterday? What if something goes wrong today? You haven't even stepped out of bed, but your mind is already running a marathon. Thought clutter is invisible, but very real. It's like dust in a room you haven't cleaned for years. Slowly, it settles everywhere. On your peace, on your happiness, on your ability to think clearly. So what can you do? In Zen, we do not fight thoughts. We do not chase them away. That only gives them more power. Instead, we observe them. When a thought arises, just notice it, like a leaf floating on a river. You don't grab it. You don't push it away. You watch. It will float by on its own. Try this. Sit silently for 5 minutes a day. No music, no distractions, just you and your breath. Watch your thoughts come and go. You will notice something strange. When you stop reacting to your thoughts, they slowly lose their grip on you. That's the first secret. The power of letting go starts with watching. Now, let me tell you a small Zen story. A student once came to a Zen master and said, "Master, my mind is full of noise. I cannot meditate. I cannot think clearly. What should I do?" The master poured a cup of tea for the student. He poured and poured until the cup overflowed. The student shouted, "Master, the cup is full." The master smiled and said, "Yes, and so is your mind. How can I pour wisdom into it if it is already overflowing? This is your mind too. It is full, not just of knowledge, but of worries, assumptions, judgments, expectations, plans, fears, memories. To truly see clearly, you must empty the cup. Now don't be afraid. Letting go of thoughts doesn't mean becoming empty or stupid. It means becoming light. It means becoming present. It means feeling alive again. Many people fear silence, but silence is not emptiness. In Zen, silence is the true home of wisdom. Inside silence, you can finally hear yourself. Not the noise of the world, not the opinions of others, but your real self. When your mind becomes quiet, your heart starts speaking. Letting go of thought clutter also means letting go of control. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to figure everything out. Life is not a problem to be solved. It is an experience to be lived. And the only way to live it is to stop overthinking it. Let me give you another example. Think of a snow globe. When you shake it, snow flies everywhere. You can't see anything inside. But if you place it down and wait, everything settles. Slowly, the snowflakes float to the bottom, and the water becomes clear. Your mind is just like that. When you stop shaking it with constant thoughts, it clears up, and in that clarity, there is peace. In Buddhism, we speak of right thought as part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It means thoughts that are kind, gentle, focused, and helpful, not scattered and harmful. But before you can have right thought, you must let go of all the wrong ones: guilt, jealousy, regret, revenge, pride. You must clean the house before you can decorate it. But cleaning the mind doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. Zen is not about running away. It's about facing everything, but with calm eyes. You look at your anger and say, "Ah, you are here." You look at your sadness and say, "Yes, I see you." And then you breathe. And slowly it passes. In that moment, you learn something precious. You are not your thoughts. You're the one watching them. What a deep freedom that is. So, my friend, if you want to let go, begin here. Sit in silence. Watch your mind like a curious child watching clouds. Don't judge your thoughts. Don't chase them. Just watch. Let the noisy ones pass. Let the painful ones drift. Let the joyful ones come and go. You do not need to hold on to any of them. Remember, thoughts are not facts. They are just visitors. When you stop reacting to every visitor, your house becomes peaceful again. There's nothing dramatic about it. It's not magic. It's practice. Daily, simple, gentle practice. Even 5 minutes a day is enough. Slowly, your thoughts will lose their stickiness. You will begin to feel space inside, space to breathe, to feel, to be. And in that space, a new kind of peace will rise. One that doesn't depend on things going right. One that doesn't break when people disappoint you. One that comes from within. That, my dear friend, is the peace of letting go. Letting go of thought clutter is the first doorway to inner freedom. And the key is not effort, it's awareness. Now, take one deep breath. Feel your body. Listen to the silence inside. There it is, the beginning of everything. Let go. Just let go. Emptiness is form. Understanding Zen non-attachment. Come closer, my friend. Sit beside me. Let the world slow down. There's no rush here. Just breathe. You've come far. You've listened. You've begun to see the weight you carry and the way your mind holds on to things. Today we arrive at one of the deepest truths Zen has to offer, and yet it is also the simplest. Emptiness is form. Form is emptiness. Strange words, aren't they? They come from a Heart Sutra, one of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism. But don't worry, we will not dive into complexity. We will not use fancy words. I will speak to you like a stream speaks to a stone, soft, gentle, and true. Let me tell you a story. One day, a young monk went to his master and asked, "Master, I feel so empty inside. There's nothing in me. No direction, no passion, no clarity. What should I do?" The old master smiled and poured tea into the young monk's cup. He kept pouring. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the floor. "Master, the cup is full," the monk shouted. "Yes," the master said, "and so are you. That's why nothing new can enter." This is the first step to understanding emptiness, not as a negative, but as an openness, a space, a freedom. You see, emptiness is not a hole. It is not a lack. It is not a dark place to fear. It is the sky without clouds. It is the room without noise. It is the heart not heavy with past or future. In Zen, emptiness means this: nothing has a fixed, permanent self. Everything changes. Everything flows. So to attach yourself to any one thing, an idea, a person, a belief, is to deny the true nature of life. Let's pause here. Think about your own life. How many things are you holding on to that no longer breathe with life? An old grudge? A dream that's no longer your own? A version of yourself you keep trying to return to? You're not wrong for holding on. You are human. But now, you're waking up. Zen says, to see the truth is to let go of form. To live fully is to rest in emptiness. It sounds hard, I know, but let me tell you, emptiness is not cold. It is warm, kind, and alive. In emptiness, you begin to see the world clearly, without labels, without filters, just things as they are. Let's take another simple example. A bowl. What makes a bowl useful? Not the clay, not the shape, but the empty space inside. Without that space, you cannot fill it with rice, with tea, with anything. That emptiness is what makes the form valuable. Now think of yourself. If you fill yourself with fear, with anger, with the constant need to be something, how will you ever taste peace? But if you learn to stay open, empty of ego, of judgment, of control, life flows into you like cool water. This is the Zen path. Now you may ask, "Master, how can I live in this world and be empty? I have a job, a family, a past." Good. That means you are alive. Emptiness is not running away from life. It is not about being numb. It's about not clinging. You love your child, but you don't try to possess them. You work hard, but you don't tie your worth to success. You enjoy a moment, but you don't mourn when it ends. Everything is allowed to pass. You observe. You flow. That is the secret. Another story. 2 monks were walking by a river. They saw a woman struggling to cross. One monk picked her up and carried her across. They continued walking in silence. Hours later, the other monk said, "Why did you carry that woman? We're not supposed to touch them." The first monk replied, "I set her down by the river." "Are you still carrying her?" This is what we do, isn't it? Carrying people, events, and emotions long after they are gone. When you're full of those things, there's no space left in you. No saídas, no tiranias. That's why we must become like the empty bowl. Let the past go. Let the future unfold. Just be here now. It's not easy, but it's simple. And with time, you'll begin to see that emptiness is not something to avoid. It's something to return to. Just as a musician returns to silence between the notes. Just as the breath returns to stillness between each inhale and exhale. Even the universe, vast and endless, began from emptiness. And yet it contains everything. You do too. Let me tell you something from my own experience. Years ago, I lost everything I thought mattered. The temple where I taught, the students I guided, the peace I thought I had mastered. It all vanished like smoke in the wind. At first I clung, I cried, I questioned, I shouted into the night. But when the shouting stopped, I heard something I had never heard before. Silence. And in that silence I found peace. Not because I had gotten anything back, but because I had let everything go. I had returned to the empty bowl, and life poured back in. New students, new lessons, new joy. But this time, I held it all lightly. No more chains, only breath, only now. So today, I offer you this. Don't be afraid of emptiness. Embrace it. It is not the end. It is the beginning of freedom. Let go of form. Let go of labels. Let go of mine and me, just for a moment, and see what remains. You'll find it's not emptiness after all. It's space. Space for peace. Space for love. Space for truth. That is the Zen way, and that is the power of letting go. Close your eyes now, just for a few seconds. Listen to the quiet between these words. That is where the teaching lies. That is where you live, free, vast, and deeply alive. I will see you in the next breath. Release and receive. The paradox of abundance. Listen carefully, for today we speak about something very subtle, yet very powerful. The paradox of abundance. It is said that the more you hold on tightly to something, the less of it you truly have. Strange, isn't it? How could holding on less bring more to us? And yet, this is the wisdom of Zen, the truth whispered by the wind and felt by the heart. Imagine a small bird perched on your finger. If you clench your fist tightly, the bird will be frightened and fly away. But if you keep your hand open and relaxed, the bird may stay, resting softly on your palm. Holding too tightly pushes away what you desire. Releasing your grip invites abundance to enter your life. This is not just about birds or possessions. It is about life itself. Many come to me, burdened with worries, desires, and fears. They say, "Master, I want happiness, success, love. How do I hold them?" And I say, do not hold. Learn to release. This answer puzzles them. They wonder how letting go can bring anything at all. Here is the paradox. When you clutch life tightly, with fear and grasping, you close your heart and mind. Your vision narrows. You become blind to the many gifts already around you. Your hands are full, but your soul is empty. But when you loosen your hold, when you release control, expectations, and attachments, your hands open. Space is created. In that space, new possibilities flow in. Let me share a story. Once a man was very wealthy. He had gold, land, and many servants. Yet he was unhappy. He feared losing what he had. So he locked his treasures deep in a vault. He guarded them day and night. But the fear made his life heavy. He slept little and smiled less. One day, a wise monk came to visit him. The man showed his treasures, proud yet weary. The monk asked, "Why do you hide your riches away? Are they not meant to be shared?" The man replied, "If I give even a little, I might lose it all." The monk smiled gently and said, "Try this. Give some gold to those in need and see what happens." The man hesitated but followed the advice. He gave a small portion away. At first, he felt empty. But then, to his surprise, more opportunities came. New friends arrived, his health improved, and happiness slowly grew. He realized that by releasing some wealth, he opened his life to greater abundance. This story holds a deep lesson. The universe is generous. It flows endlessly like a river. But if you dam the river, the water becomes stagnant and harmful. When you release the dam, water moves freely, nourishing all. The same is true for your life. In Buddhism, This is called the law of non-attachment. It is not that you reject life or pleasure. Instead, you accept life as it is without grasping or clinging. Why is clinging so strong in us? Because the mind fears loss. It believes that holding on is safety. But real safety is within, in the calm center where nothing needs to be held. This center is your true self, untouched by gain or loss. Many people misunderstand letting go as giving up or being weak. But in truth, it is the greatest strength. When you release what binds you, the anger, the jealousy, the old regrets, you become free. Your heart opens like a flower in the morning sun. But be patient. Letting go is a practice, not a single act. Sometimes you will catch yourself holding on again. This is normal. Gently return to the path, like a river flowing back to the sea. Another way to see this is through breath. If you hold your breath too long, discomfort grows. But if you breathe naturally, deeply, the body relaxes and energy flows. Letting go is like breathing, necessary and life-giving. The paradox of abundance also applies to joy and love. If you try to force love or demand happiness, these become strained and fragile. But if you allow love to flow freely, without expectation, it grows stronger and more lasting. Imagine a garden. You cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling at its petals. You must tend the soil, water it gently, and let nature do its work. Letting go means trusting the process of life. Zen teaches us to embrace uncertainty with grace. We do not know what the future holds, and that is not frightening but freeing. When you release control, you open space for miracles. You might ask, Master, how do I start releasing? What if I lose everything? Start small. Notice one thing you are holding too tightly. Perhaps it is a past hurt or a fear of failure. Observe it with kindness. Then imagine placing it gently down like setting a stone by the riverbank. See how your shoulders relax, how your breath deepens. This small release is the first step toward abundance. In daily life, practice this in little ways. Let go of the need to be right in arguments. Release impatience in traffic. Loosen your grip on plans that don't work out. Each time you release, you open a door for new blessings. Remember, the universe never punishes release. It rewards it in quiet, surprising ways. In Zen, there is a saying, to hold, you must first let go. This is the paradox. By releasing, you receive. So, do not fear to let go. It is not the end of your story, but the start of a new chapter filled with peace and plenty. The path of release is also the path of trust. Trust in yourself, in the moment, and in the unfolding mystery of life. You are not alone on this journey. Every breath you take can be a step toward freedom. Let your heart be like water, flexible, flowing, embracing all without grasping. This is the way of abundance. Now, sit quietly and breathe. Feel the weight you have carried. See if you can place it down, just for a moment. In that moment, you will touch the power of letting go. And in that touch, abundance will flow to you naturally, effortlessly, like the endless river. The art of surrender, trusting the present moment. Sit down, dear one. Let the world be as it is for now. Just for these moments, there is no need to rush, to fix, to prove anything. Let us talk, not with the noise of the mind, but with the silence of wisdom. I want to speak to you today about a kind of strength that the world often forgets. A kind of wisdom that doesn't shout, but whispers gently through the breeze, through falling leaves, through the quiet heart. It is the art of surrender. Surrender, such a misunderstood word. Many think it means to lose, to give up, to be defeated. But in Zen, surrender is the highest courage. It is not weak, it is peaceful. It does not mean you do nothing. It means you stop fighting what is already here. Imagine standing in a river. The current is strong, and you try to fight it. You push against the water, you strain your legs, you use all your energy to stay still. After a while, you are exhausted. Now imagine you simply lift your feet. You let the river carry you. You flow with it. That is surrender. You are still alive, still moving. But now, you are no longer resisting. In life, we spend so much time resisting. resisting people, situations, emotions, even our own thoughts. We try to control things that are beyond our control. We try to fix every detail, chase every answer, protect every outcome. But life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be lived. It is like trying to hold sand in your fist. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. There is great power in allowing things to unfold. Zen does not ask you to become lazy. It asks you to be present, to respond instead of react, to trust instead of control. Surrender is not about leaving everything to chance. It is about walking with awareness, but without attachment. Have you ever watched a tree during a storm? It does not stand stiff. It bends. It sways. It flows with the wind. That is how it survives. A tree that tries to remain rigid will snap. But the tree that surrenders to the storm stands tall once the sky clears. This is the same with your heart. Be soft. Be open. Flow. Now, let's go deeper. Surrendering means accepting this moment exactly as it is, without wishing it were different. It means sitting with your sadness without trying to escape, feeling your anger without needing to act on it, witnessing your joy without fearing it will leave. In Buddhism, we call this mindfulness, being fully here now with whatever is. When you surrender to the present, a strange thing happens. The moment becomes enough. You're no longer chasing something else. You're no longer haunted by what was or terrified by what might come. You are here, and here is more peaceful than anything you were chasing. How do you surrender, you ask? Isn't it hard? Yes, in the beginning, because the mind has been trained to control everything. It wants certainty. It wants answers. It fears the unknown. But the unknown is where life really happens. Think of a seed. It falls into the soil, buried in darkness. It does not know what will happen, but it trusts. It breaks. It grows. It reaches the light. Without surrender, the seed would stay buried forever. In your own life, surrender might mean letting go of someone who no longer grows with you. It might mean forgiving a person who never said sorry. It might mean releasing an idea of who you should be and embracing who you are becoming. It might mean saying, I don't know what's next, but I trust one will be okay. One of the most beautiful Zen stories is about a monk and a cliff. A Zen monk was once walking through the forest when suddenly a tiger began to chase him. He ran and ran until he reached the edge of a cliff. With nowhere else to go, he climbed down and held onto a vine. Below him, another tiger waited. He was stuck, one tiger above, another below. Then he saw a small strawberry growing from the side of the cliff. With one hand holding the vine, he plucked the strawberry with the other. He smiled and ate it. That is surrender. He could not change his situation, but he could choose to taste the strawberry. He could choose presence, even in danger, even in fear, even in the unknown. This is the heart of Zen. You are not asked to avoid life's tigers. They will come. Pain will visit. Change will knock on your door. But even then, you can breathe. You can taste the strawberry. You can surrender to the beauty of the moment, even when it trembles. Now listen closely. Surrender does not mean you allow harm. It does not mean you stay silent when your heart says speak. It does not mean you stay where you are not respected. No, true surrender includes wisdom. It includes self-love. It is not passive. It is powerful. When you let go of control, you make space for clarity. When you stop forcing outcomes, better ones often appear. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you start becoming yourself. Let's take a moment to reflect. How many things are you holding tightly right now? Is it a fear, a regret, a relationship, an identity, an expectation of how life should be? Now ask yourself, gently, what if I release this? Not because it is bad, not because I failed, but because I trust that what is meant for me will stay. And what leaves was never mine to carry. The lotus flower does not bloom by chasing the sun. It rises from a mud, slowly, with trust, in stillness, in surrender. So can you. Zen asks only this: return now, breathe, stop resisting, let life move, let your heart open, let your hands unclench. There's nothing to force, nothing to hold. Everything that is meant for you will flow toward you. In this part of our journey, remember, letting go is not the end. Surrender is not the end. It is the way back to peace. It is the way back to now. So when life feels too loud, too heavy, too confusing, pause. Feel your breath. Look around. Let all be, just for a moment. And in that quiet moment, you will hear the voice of Zen. Nothing to hold, nothing to chase. This moment is enough. That is the art of surrender. That is the heart of letting go. Unchain the past, freedom from old stories. Sit with me now, just for a moment. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Let me tell you something that may seem small at first, but is greater than any mountain you will ever climb. You are not your past. Yet, many people live as if they are. They carry their past like a thick chain around their neck, never realizing that it is they who keep locking it there. Let me ask you, dear one, how long will you keep dragging the past with you? How long will you replay that one mistake, that one heartbreak, that one regret again and again like an old song that only brings tears? We're like a man walking with a bag of stones on his back. He picked one up when someone hurt him, another when he failed, another when he was ashamed. Day by day, he added more. But no one ever told him, you don't have to carry them forever. We are that man. We carry things we no longer need. Not in our hands, but in our thoughts, our stories, our identities. I was betrayed, we say. I failed once, we whisper. I'm not good enough, we repeat. But who gave these stories power? Who keeps repeating them? Only us. In Zen, we say, let go or be dragged. There is no third option. Either you free yourself from the story, or the story controls your life. Let me share a story with you. Once, 2 monks were walking through the forest. They came to a river where a woman stood, unable to cross. One monk, older and wise, picked her up and carried her across. The younger monk was shocked. Monks are not supposed to touch women. But he said nothing. They walked on in silence. Hours passed. Finally, the younger monk burst out. How could you carry that woman? We are monks. The elder monk smiled gently. I put her down hours ago, brother. Why are you still carrying her? Do you see? You, too, have been carrying things long after they happened. Someone left you. Someone hurt you. You failed in something. It happened years ago, but in your mind, it's still fresh. You didn't carry it for a moment. You carried it for miles, months, even years. Zen is not magic. It doesn't erase the past, but it teaches this: don't live inside it. The past is a place to learn from, not to live in. A burned hand teaches you not to touch fire again, but it doesn't mean you should keep burning yourself in memory of it. In your heart, there's a locked room where all your past mistakes, losses, and shames are stored. You visit it often. You cry there. You feel weak there. But what if I told you the key has always been in your pocket? What if I told you you can open that door, walk in, and say, thank you, but I don't need to stay here anymore? You are not your past name, not your scars, not your failures. You are what you choose to do now. Let me share another teaching. There was a Zen master who was known for his peace. A young man came to him, tormented by guilt. I lied to my family, he said. I broke their trust. I'm ashamed. I don't deserve peace. The master didn't respond. He simply picked up a bowl of water and dropped a pinch of dirt into it. Drink, he said. The young man looked confused. It's muddy. The master poured the water out, cleaned the bowl, and filled it with fresh water. Now drink, he smiled. What does this mean? The young man asked. You were holding dirty water in your heart. That's why you couldn't taste peace, the master replied. But now you've let it out. Fill again, but with clean water this time, with truth, forgiveness, and kindness. What we carry inside reflects what we experience outside. If you fill yourself with old pain, regret, and shame, the world will look darker. But if you empty that out, even just a little, light begins to come in. But Zen does not rush. Zen is not a storm. It's the soft wind through bamboo, the stillness in tea, the breath between thoughts. So I say, do not try to erase your past. Just loosen your grip. Say, yes, that happened. But I am here now, and here I am free. You may ask, but how do I let go? Let me guide you. First, observe your thoughts. Just watch them. Don't chase them. Don't judge them. Just like clouds in the sky, they come and they go. Some are dark, some are light, but none stay forever. Second, breathe deeply when the past comes up. It's just a memory, not a monster. Feel your body. Feel the ground beneath you. The breath is your anchor to the present. Third, forgive. Not just others, but yourself. Forgiveness is not saying, it was okay. It's saying, I won't let this hurt me anymore. Fourth, practice presence. Wash the dishes with full attention. Walk without your phone. Eat without distraction. When you are fully here, the past cannot hold you. Fifth, be gentle. Letting go is not one big action. It's thousands of small decisions, like placing a stone down each day. In time, the load becomes lighter. Letting go is not forgetting. It is remembering differently, with less pain, with more understanding. Sometimes, we confuse healing with justice. We wait for apologies. We wait for someone to fix what they broke. But the truth is, healing begins when you stop waiting. You heal when you choose to be free, even if they never say sorry, even if the past can't be changed. The past is a place with no doors. It's already written. But the present? That's where your hand still holds the pen. So write gently. Write freely. Write something new. Even the tallest mountain was once nothing but dust. And you too can rise again, lighter, clearer, freer. Look at the trees. They don't hold onto their dead leaves. They let them fall. And when spring comes, they bloom again. Why not be like the tree? Let the old leaves fall. Let the new life in. You are not broken. You're not trapped. You're simply holding too tightly to a story that has ended. Let go. The next chapter is waiting. The floating leaf, responding without clinging. Come, sit with me for a while. You've walked far in your journey of letting go. You've looked into your thoughts, sat with your silence, faced your memories, and unwrapped the tight grip of many burdens. Now we come to something very subtle, but very important. Responding without clinging. Like a leaf floating gently on a river. It moves, it flows, but it does not hold on. Have you ever watched a leaf fall into a stream? It doesn't panic. It doesn't resist the current. It doesn't grab at stones or cry out when the water shifts direction. It simply floats. It trusts the flow, not because it knows where it will go, but because it knows holding on is not its nature. This is how we must learn to be in our everyday life. Letting go is not just about removing things from your life. It's not just deleting, avoiding, or walking away. Real letting go is found in the moment of response. When something happens, someone says something hurtful, something goes wrong, or plans change. How do you respond? Do you tense up? Do you try to control? Do you fight the moment? That is clinging. Zen teaches us to respond like the floating leaf. Soft, present, clear, but not attached. That doesn't mean we don't care. In fact, when we stop clinging, we begin to care more purely, without fear, pride, or ego. You see, clinging changes how we see the world. When we cling, even love becomes a fear. What if they leave me? What if they change? What if I'm not enough? These are not love. These are attachments dressed as care. But pure love, like the floating leaf, simply flows. It gives, it holds space, and it lets go when the time comes. It's the same with pain. We can't stop pain from visiting, but we add to it by clinging to it. A monk once said, "Pain is what the world gives you. Suffering is what you give yourself." He meant that life brings storms, but we suffer more when we hold the storm inside. We replay it, relive it, and refuse to let it pass. Letting go doesn't mean you forget or pretend nothing happened. It means you allow things to move through you. You see them, you feel them, but you don't build a home for them in your heart. Just like clouds pass through the sky, emotions pass through the mind. Do not block them. Do not chase them. Simply observe. Let me tell you a story from long ago. There were two monks traveling on foot. As they walked, they came across a woman struggling to cross a muddy path. One monk immediately picked her up and helped her across. The other monk remained silent. Hours later, the second monk finally spoke. "Why did you touch that woman? We're not supposed to have contact." The first monk replied, "I put her down hours ago, but it seems you're still carrying her." This story holds deep wisdom. We often carry things far longer than necessary. A small moment, a word, a disagreement, we hold it tight in our mind. We replay it, twist it, and let it disturb our peace. Why? Because we respond, but we don't release. The leaf in the stream has already moved on, but our mind holds on to every rock and every bend in the river, trying to control what has already passed. This is suffering. Letting go is not passive. It's not laziness or giving up. It is the strength to not get trapped. It's the wisdom to know that clinging solves nothing. In fact, it makes the problem heavier. Every day, life gives you chances to practice this. Someone cuts in traffic. Can you float? Or do you burn with anger? Your plan fails. Can you adjust? Or do you fall into frustration? Someone you love disappoints you. Can you still love without attachment? Or do you punish them in your mind? Zen says, respond, don't react. The difference is simple. Reaction is fast, emotional, tied to ego. It says, how dare this happen to me? Response is slow, mindful, open. It asks, what is this moment teaching me? One creates chains, the other sets you free. In every moment, you have two choices, cling or float. Floating does not mean drifting aimlessly. It means you stay in the moment. You accept the current. You let go of the illusion that you can control the river. Most suffering comes from resistance. We want the world to behave according to our mind. We want others to act the way we think is right. But the world does not bend for our preferences. The leaf does not fight the water. It learns to move with it. Even the breath teaches us this. You breathe in. You let go. You breathe out. You let go again. The body knows how to release. But the mind? It holds its breath. It holds grudges, past mistakes, future worries. And we wonder why we feel so heavy. Zen teaches us to breathe again, to trust again, to soften, even when we feel hurt, to return to this very moment without dragging yesterday behind. Look at nature. The trees don't resist the wind. The sky does not hold back rain. The seasons don't argue with each other. Everything flows. Everything responds without clinging. You, too, are part of nature. Let yourself remember. There's peace in not needing to control. There's calm in not needing to know everything. There's strength in not holding on. Today, can you practice being the floating leaf? Just for a moment. Try to observe without grabbing. Try to listen without judging. Try to respond without reacting. Try to let go and trust that the current will carry you to where you need to be. The more you float, the lighter you become. And in that lightness, you will feel something beautiful, your true self. Not the self built from stories and scars, but the self that simply is. Quiet, still, aware, free. Let go. Not because you don't care, but because you care enough to make space for peace. Float like the leaf, and life will reveal its calm to you. You're already on the river. Let the current take you. We continue forward, quietly, gently, freely, just like the leaf. The floating leaf, responding without clinging. Sit quietly for a moment. Close your eyes. Now imagine a small leaf floating gently on a calm river. It's not fighting the current. It's not trying to change its direction. It's simply flowing, moving with no resistance. This leaf has no past to cling to and no future to fear. It simply allows itself to be carried. This is the Zen way of responding to life, without clinging. In this part of our journey together, I will show you how to live like that leaf. Not weak, not lost, but strong in stillness, calm in chaos, free in every moment. Many people confuse letting go with giving up. But no, my dear one, letting go is not weakness. Letting go means you have the wisdom to know when to hold on and when to release. It means you're no longer reacting from fear, but responding from peace. Let's take a simple example from daily life. Imagine someone insults you. They say something hurtful. Your first impulse may be to defend, to argue, to attack back. But in that moment, ask yourself, am I reacting or am I responding? If you're reacting, you're trapped. You've already clung to their words, their energy, their emotion. But if you're responding, you are observing. You see their pain. You stay calm. You stay free. This is the art of floating like the leaf. You're still in the river of life, but you're not drowning in the waves. Zen teaches us. Be like the hollow bamboo, strong, yet empty. What does that mean? It means do not stuff yourself with judgments, grudges, fears, or opinions. Keep your inner space clear and open. So when life flows through you, you don't block it. You let it move naturally. This is not a lesson of logic. It's a lesson of awareness. And awareness comes from watching. Watching without labels, without stories. Let me tell you a Zen story. A young monk once asked his master, "Master, how do I deal with people who hurt me?" The master smiled and said, "Hold a burning coal in your hand. Now throw it at them." The student paused. "But master, I will burn myself first." The master nodded. "Exactly. Holding anger is like holding fire. Holding attachment is like grasping thorns. To respond without clinging is to not burn, not bleed. It is to walk away with your peace untouched." One of the greatest powers of letting go is this. You don't need to control the world to feel safe. You don't need to win every argument to feel worthy. You don't need to be right. You just need to be present. So how do we train ourselves to stop clinging? Start small. Next time something doesn't go your way, pause. Notice the rise of tension in your chest, in your mind. Don't fight it. Just observe. Then take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this worth holding? Can I respond with understanding instead of control? You will see, slowly, the leaf within you begins to float. When Buddha spoke of suffering, he said it comes not from pain, but from our resistance to pain. Pain is like rain. It will come, it will go. But suffering is when we curse the sky, blame the clouds, and scream at the wind. The floating leaf doesn't scream. It doesn't resist. It doesn't ask, why me? It says, this is the flow. Let me stay light. Let me share with you something deeper now. Many people try to let go with force. They say, I must forget. I must detach. I must stop caring. But that is another form of clinging to the idea of non-clinging. Zen is not about suppression. Zen is about allowing. You don't need to push your thoughts away. You just need to stop following them. Sit quietly. Notice a thought arise. Maybe it says, I'm not good enough. Just smile at it. Let it pass. Like a bird flying across the sky. It comes, it goes. But it leaves no trace. The sky never holds onto the bird. And you, my dear listener, are the sky, not the thought. Responding without clinging also means letting others have their space. You don't need to control what they think. You don't need to fix how they feel. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone be. You give them the freedom to walk their path, and you take back your energy to focus on your own peace. Zen doesn't teach you to escape life. It teaches you to enter it fully, but with softness, to live deeply, but without becoming tangled. You can still love deeply without fear. You can still care without expectations. You can still engage without attachment. Like the floating leaf, you stay connected to the river, but you don't try to stop its flow. Now ask yourself gently, where am I clinging in my life? To someone's words? To a painful memory? To a plan that didn't go the way I imagined? And can I allow myself, even for a moment, to release the grip? Take one breath. Let out slowly. In that breath out, you've already let go. And in that space, peace has entered. So today, let us float like the leaf. Let us stay soft like the water. Let us be strong like the bamboo, rooted, yet open. You don't need to win. You don't need to prove. You only need to be. Be here. Be light. Be still. Because true strength is the ability to stay peaceful in a world that is always trying to pull you in. That is the Zen path. Not loud, not complex, but gentle and free. Let the leaf within you float. And when the winds blow harder, do not fear. Flow with them. You are not here to control the river. You are here to learn how to dance with it. We'll meet again in the next step of a journey. Until then, let go and let peace carry you forward. The way forward, living the Zen path of letting go. So we've come to the end of the journey. But, dear one, in Zen, the end is never the end. It is only another beginning. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen closely. This moment, this very moment, is everything. You have walked far. You have listened to the wind of the old teachings. You have heard about cups being emptied, rivers flowing, bamboo bending, and leaves floating. You have traveled into the stillness of the present and returned from the noise of the past. And now, it is time to live. Not with heavy steps, but with light feet and a lighter heart. Letting go is not something you do once. It is something you become. It is not a trick. It is not a method. It is the way of things. You don't let go because it is fashionable. You let go because life demands it, gently, quietly, without force. Just like the tree lets go of its leaves in autumn without complaint. Just like the clouds let go of rain when it is time. Just like the breath leaves your lungs without fear of not coming back. Many think letting go means losing. But look around. What are you truly losing? When you release anger, do you lose strength? When you release resentment, do you lose protection? When you release the past, do you lose identity? No. You find space. You find peace. You find yourself beneath all that weight you were never meant to carry. I will tell you a short story now, one last story. A simple one. There was a monk walking along a mountain path. He saw a boulder blocking the road. Others had turned around, saying, "It's too big, too heavy." But the monk simply sat down before it. He closed his eyes. He let go of the idea of resistance. After a while, he stood up, and instead of trying to move the boulder, he found a narrow path to the side, soft, covered in grass, hidden. He smiled and walked on. The obstacle had never been the boulder. It was the belief that it had to be removed. This is how you must live now. Let go of fighting. Let go of controlling. Let go of needing everything to go your way. Let go of the idea that happiness comes when life is perfect. Perfection is not real. Peace is. You see, in Zen, we say before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Nothing outside changes. But inside, the war is over. That is what letting go gives you. A still heart in a loud world. You will still feel pain. Letting go does not make you numb, but it makes you free. Free to feel without being destroyed by it. Free to cry and then smile. Free to be human without shame. Sometimes the thoughts will return. The mind will say, what if I had done things differently? What if I lose them again? What if I'm not enough? But now you know the way. You smile, breathe, and say, thank you, mind. I see you, but I choose peace. Letting go is not forgetting. It is remembering and not needing to hold on. It is loving and not needing to possess. It is walking and not needing to arrive. You must practice every day, not by sitting on a cushion for hours, but by being aware. Aware of when your shoulders rise with stress. Aware of when your jaw tightens. Aware of when your heart begins to close. That is your bell. That is your teacher. That is your path, showing itself in the small moments. And don't worry if you forget. You will. And when you remember again, you simply return. Like the breath. Like the tide. Like the sun after a long night. Now, before we close, let me remind you of one more thing. You are not alone on this path. All beings are walking this way, even if they do not know it. And here, in this humble space we've shared, you are part of something soft, quiet, and powerful. A community of hearts choosing stillness over chaos, simplicity over excess, surrender over struggle. And now, my dear friend, if these words have brought you even a moment of calm, a drop of peace, I ask you to help us share that peace with the world. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. That means so many listen and walk away.